Let's get ready to rumble!
Sports Extra is bringing you the hottest sports updates starting now in 3, 2, 1. Welcome in, everybody, to the last Sports Extra of the 2022-2023 school year. It's a very emotional roller coaster. We're going to be going through a lot of emotions here today. I'm Coby Clark, and for the last time on this show, well, never say never. You never know. Joseph, the Lawn Moore.
Man, I'm happy. Bittersweet to be
Bittersweet?
here. Bittersweet to be here, for sure.
Joe, I mean, we're going to be talking about you towards the later end of this. We're starting a little later, but that's because we had our senior send-offs plus you, who is not coming
Joe,
back,
yeah.
plus Joe, the senior send-off plus Joe edition of Sports Extra. We're starting a little later because of all that, but nevertheless, we're still here to provide you everything from Indiana State to Indianapolis sports, and then from about the last 20 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about just Joe and his experiences here. Sending him off into the sunset, into a beautiful career. I don't know why you'd want to leave us, but I understand why. It's okay, Joe. You don't have to make me cry.
Right.
I'm going to make you cry. That's my goal.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When they were doing the senior send-off, I was definitely, swallowing down some tears, and I'm just like...
Talk about Rich, though.
Yeah, exactly. Talk about Rich.
His eyes were red.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't shed a tear, but,
That's true.
They were definitely there. They
were built up. They just didn't flow down.
Exactly.
Well, it is a very gloomy Monday evening right now here in Terre Haute, Indiana. It is finals week here in Indiana State, and Joe, I'm not going to lie to you, I want it to be over already.
Yeah, I feel
it hurts.
It definitely hurts. Like, one of the parts of me leaving is, like, one of the fun parts was, like, my roommate. Because, like, we would go back and forth on, like, basketball specifically because we were pretty much into all the same things.
Absolutely.
And I, like, walked in, and then he pretty much moved out early and stuff. And then,
really?
like, the microwave gone, his room. You know that
Not
scene?
the microwave.
Like, man, that was really hurt because I didn't even have a microwave. So I'm like, dang, I got to go to my girl's place. But, like, it was just like, dang, it was like that scene from the last episode, Fresh Prince, where he just like sitting in that open, like, you know what I mean?
It
was just like, dang.
That's my state of mind a lot.
Really over, huh?
That meme hurts and makes me sad a lot of the time.
It does, but it was a good run.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, before we get into everything, I just want to let you know that you, my guy, you are one of my biggest influences here at the station. I see your hard work and how much dedication you've put in here already. I've only known you for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Yeah. But just every moment that I've shared with you has been a freaking blast.
Man, I have to say the same to you, man. Like, your work ethic, you coming in and everything, and then I was, being like, man, Corey Clark's little brother's coming in. I'm like, I don't even know Corey Clark. He just exposed to me. How many times it took to Rich to get your name straight?
I still don't know if he has.
Anyway, but yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's just like, your dedication, your work ethic, your true passion. I think like you are, pretty much the one that I can see like just straight up on a day-by-day basis, the passion that you put into everything that you do here, because, this is really what you want to do. You get a whole lot of joy from this, wakes you up every morning and, get you out of bed, and then you just like being here and stuff. And that's really an inspiration. I think that's something that everybody can take away from that. Just, when you do what you love, it's not really a job.
It's not. And I want to say this now. Joe is the only guy to make someone else feel appreciated, even when it's his moment. No, it could be your wedding day, and you're just going to say something about some random guy in the crowd.
It's just weird. I really don't. I've had this thing, and you can ask Rich. I've had this thing where I just don't like
the attention.
I don't like the like overpraise, like, what I
get
mean?
You. No, I'm the same way.
Even if you ask like, one of like my family members and stuff, when I was a little kid, I had a big head, you know what I mean? I still kind of have a big head and stuff. So, and part of me, like, growing up was kind of like, being a little bit more humble to experiences and stuff.
Right.
So that's just like a natural reaction. I'm just like, you know what? I'm not, I'm just Joe. Everybody else is just, just so fantastic around me and stuff. And you're one of them. And everybody at the station is, just a group of fantastic people that I really enjoy working with the past 3 years.
Yes, sir. Joe, let's save the tears for the later end of the show.
All
let's get into some sports, man. Some Indiana State sports, baseball, softball, and then we're going to, end it a little bit with the 2023 NFL Draft and how well the Indianapolis Colts did. They finally got their quarterback. I know you guys have probably already heard about it. Yeah. Anthony Richardson and a lot of great talent around them in the later rounds, second, third, all the way. I think they had their last pick in the 5th round, which is kind of surprising to me. But nevertheless, a great draft. We'll get into that. But first, Joe, let's talk about some Indiana State baseball. This team right here, they came into the weekend as the number 14th nationally ranked team. And I'm not talking just the conference. I'm not talking the state of Indiana. Out of every team in the country that has a D1 baseball team, Indiana State, the Sycamores, they're number 14. And that right there just speaks volumes on how well this season and this real streak that they've had on a 14-game winning streak has to go and say for them.
I mean, yeah, I feel like this baseball program is really just, it hit its stride and it's continued to go. And I mean, I see that, a little one misstep against Evansville, which was definitely surprising to me.
We'll get into that.
But, still, I just feel like this baseball team has just in general just had like a lot of, air under its wings and everything. And I feel like that national recognition is something that, this Indiana State baseball team should get used to. I mean, I feel like they're in the position right now, especially going through, the last couple of games where it's pretty much, primarily all conference play, which Indiana State has dominated the conference so far.
Oh, yeah.
So, if we just continue this trend, do at least like 85 to 90% of, what we've shown the rest of the season so far in these last couple of games or these last couple of series, I feel like it's going to be a good position for Indiana State to be in going into the tournament.
And the one thing about this team, Joe, is when I look at this team, they have just grown so much over the course of a year, and especially back to the beginning of this year. And everything that has been talked about, has been said about this team, they've culminated. They've heard the noises. They've been, making a lot of them themselves. And coming into the weekend, Evansville was also a really good team in, the Missouri Valley Conference. I believe they were top 4, top 3, somewhere up there.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, Missouri State, another team up there as well. But when you go to Friday night, they unfortunately did lose the first, which can really be demoralizing, coming in here thinking, I don't know if they're going to think that they're going to dominate any team, even though they should. A lot of people have that kind of mentality, but you always want to open up, come in with an open mind. They lost their winning streak. They lost in a very, very low-scoring contest, 2-1, but they did end up rallying back on some strong performances back on Saturday and Sunday, winning 7-4, and it was 10-4. So, but the one thing that I really got from Friday's game, and I had, a little bit of conversations with a couple of people on Saturday when I was out in Southridge doing a tournament for Northview Knights, is the fact that Matt Jashak just really didn't have his best performance.
Yeah, he didn't have his best performance. Definitely, it's hard though. It's hard though just to continue this type of play consistently. For the amount of time that they were doing it. What was it, up to that point? It was a 14-game.
It was a 14-game
winning streak and everything, and it's hard. Just keeping up that level of play. But it's baseball, and especially when you like what you pointed out earlier with it comes to like last year to this year. It's pretty night and day, and I was really terrified in the beginning of the season that it was going to be the same situation as we saw last year in baseball. But I think just now we kind of just proved that, obviously those days are over. Especially when it comes to Evansville, for example. I believe that we lost all but one game against them. I think we played them 4 times. So we were like 1-3 against Evansville last year. And I believe we matched up with them in the tournament as well. And, now I was kind of scared because I'm like, wow, is Evansville really about to have a number right now? But of course,
I wouldn't say it necessarily.
Exactly. But still, it's just like, dang. But they definitely responded in the right way. Again, they really got their, bats to really connect on a consistent basis, and that's really what was the driver, because I was like 1-2. That was the final score for the loss, and that of course that's tough, but I feel like that's just baseball. Just both teams just weren't very well on offense there. Getting those runs in, but still, I think what they did to respond, and that's the biggest thing, is responding, because of course you had all that good energy going into it. How do you respond when something goes bad? I think they did that accordingly and stuff. So I think those are really, really good signs for the rest of the season.
No, absolutely, Joe. And the one thing that I want to also mention about the Sycamores team is, when you look back at Friday night's game, only 5 hits, which we're not really used to for this Sycamores team. Evansville coming away with 8 hits. They did have 2 errors, but I mean, just the low scoring affair, not too many hits. I mean, that's a huge reason why they couldn't come away with that victory. And a lot of people say, you want to kind of find that wake up moment.
Yeah.
And this could be said in any sport, really. Basketball, football, you name it, whatever. But baseball, like, you match up with so many good competition, and you don't know who's going to be on the mound that day. You don't know who's going to be really finding their stride. And baseball is just a big momentum challenge because you have to find who's working, what is working well, who's available even to really go out there and have your best chance of winning. So when you look at this game specifically, it's the real wake-up call when 14-game win streak, it's cool. Had a losing streak at the beginning of the season. Yep, that's fine. We answered. They answered. The phone was ringing. They got it back. And now this is kind of the time before the tournament starts in about less than a month. This month, actually, I believe it's the third week of May, where now you're going to have to really think, okay, the success has gone. Now we can really get back to it. And I think that's what fueled them Saturday and Sunday.
Man, it's so many factors with baseball.
It's insane.
It's honestly insane. Like, I'm not going to go into the science. I'm going to get enough of that in the future. But like,
come on, for the fans.
Yeah, exactly. For like the elevation to like, just the way the wind moves.
The weather is so important.
Yeah, exactly. The weather is just a huge factor as well. And then, and just sometimes your arm's not there, you know what I mean? When it comes to pitching or, even at bat. And it's just, there's just so many factors that go into it. And so, when you have that, like you said, it's just really a momentum game. And it's just about really feeling it. It's really a sport that, not to get too cliche, but off the vibes, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so when it comes to baseball, it's really those type of moments that really kind of take you back because, honestly, I think, what the baseball team should go into is like, of course, we did a lot of good things, but, they should always have that mentality of they have to prove themselves again and again and again because these people at the, middle to bottom of the conference, they playing with none to lose, you know what I mean? And in a lot of respects, whether you're in the middle where you're trying to move up or you're at the bottom and you have something to prove either personally or as a team or even the coaching, like, they're just playing with nothing to lose. So I feel like they should always come into that matchups. And I believe they've been having to come into these matchups with something to prove. And I believe they even in the game against Evansville, like Seth Gurley, he had like the tying hit that tied it all up and stuff and made it really close. I believe it was in like the 5th or 6th inning and one of the later innings and stuff. So like I think even in that game where they ended up losing, they still responded really well. And I think that that type of play from a player like Seth Gurley, who we said probably 1,000 times on air already, is
can't get enough of that, man.
Exactly. It's really the reason that you just keep on is the reason that you kind of rally behind this team because they saw the adversity in the beginning of the season and they caught that stride, and even now after they caught the stride, they're still responding and they're still just playing really good baseball. And
they should never be discouraged by this loss on Friday. If anything, it's going to help them. They're going to keep on going, playing their brand of baseball. Coach Hannes knows what to do with this team, and Gurley, for example, there's a lot of names around this Sycamore squad that has really just helped them all season long, like Diaz, and then you go with Jacek on how well he has been. One of the better pitchers in the country. Erden Nada, to name a few. Pottinger. I can keep on going. Miguel Watson, whatever.
I was just about to say.
There's just so many names on this team that if you really think about it, like from the fan perspective as just like a solo, like, oh yeah, I'm from Terre Haute, I'm focusing on the Indiana State team, or I went to ISU, I'm going to look at them. But when you look down the list at other nationally ranked teams or other teams inside the Missouri Valley Conference, the Sycamores really can hold their own, and they've already done that, and they continue to prove it.
And, again, I think that's just that mentality, just going ahead and proving it. Like, I think they really do have a confidence. You know what I mean? And I think that's really what's, like, the most important because, again, like we said, with all the factors in baseball, the last thing you need is to get inside your own head. And
that's true.
So what, like, a lot of these guys know, they kind of, like, solidify. They know who they are. They know what they're good at. They know their role on the team. They know, they have the ability to produce at a high level, at a very, very competitive level with this Missouri Valley team, and then going against other opponents as well, even like a Vanderbilt or so on. So, I mean, like, I feel like what they've been doing is responding very effectively. And, if they just continue to do those things, I don't see any real problems. I'm really excited just for a tournament. I'm not even going to lie.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a huge baseball guy. However, I think that, once this tournament hits, I'm going to be staying tuned because I really do feel like just the energy on this team, and even from like Terre Haute in general, I feel like they've been showing a lot of love for this baseball team. There's been multiple times where, Robbie Avila or, just huge crowds of, Terre Haute locals or
names coming in to support, that works wonders for them.
And it really does, because people are showing up because they know how special this team is. So, again, I think that this team is going to continue to do great things. And I think once it comes tournament times, they're going to, hopefully have this confidence that they have going on, and then just, take it off from there. Again, I'm excited for now, but I'm also excited for next year, because if we just prove that we can do this like this year, be nationally ranked and everything, I don't even know what the recruiting is going to look like for next year.
Recruiting as a whole for Indiana State has
amazing.
Been very, very good. Mm-hmm. And one thing I really think that's been working in their favor is, with them being on the west side of Indiana, Terre Haute, the Wabash Valley, they have a lot of good athletes here. I mean, not a whole lot that you would really raise some eyebrows thinking, oh, they're going to make it to the league one day for any athlete, for any sport. But still, they're very good to come up here, and that's what happens when you have 3 high schools here in Terre Haute, and then you look down south, you got Sullivan up north with Clinton. To the right, you got Northview. To the left, you got Illinois. And I mean, there's just so many options for Indiana State to get better at every sport. And
we have a couple of guys from, the Dominican Republic. And,
that too.
Some really, really big, good baseball schools and, in that part of the world. So again, I feel like we're going to the right places, and we have guys that we can go to, these schools and point to you're this fantastic prospect, and you might know this guy. You remember this dude you remember from, when he was like a junior or senior? Yeah, he played for our team. We're nationally ranked and everything, so you can make those connections going forward. That's really what it's all about, especially in just college sports in general.
College sports is very important on recruiting, and if anyone shows it, Indiana State has done a pretty good job with the local recruiting.
Man.
And, you mentioned Dominican Republic. I mean, I've seen a little bit of basketball players. I mean, they're all over the country. The women's team had a few from Australia, so it's just all these weird things that you never be like, oh, that's kind of cool where they're from, but they know the knowledge, they know the background, they're always doing their job, and that's recruiting.
Exactly, and I think they just keep it going and stuff. Indiana State's just going to be continually on the map.
Yeah, but in the Sycamores, they will be in action. I believe it'll be tomorrow when they take on a rematch of this past season's Illinois team. It'll be Bob Warren Field, the location. First pitch will be set for 6 p.m. And I want to ask you just to get your little thoughts on this. What do you think athletes in Division I go through, or at really any level, I guess you can say, when it's finals week? Because I feel like there's always something that they're going to be worried about or focused on, but they have to be ready for game time.
From what I've heard from student athletes or family members who work with a lot of athletes, my godmother Luann Jefferson, she's she's the current head athletic director for Michigan State.
Yeah, you told me that.
And she's actually going for athletic director. So go her. But still, exactly. For I don't know her, but actually,
that's cool.
From what she's kind of said, she a lot of the professors, since obviously they're athletes, they kind of tell them beforehand you want to make sure you get this done by the weekend because you're not really gonna have that time. But I think that's going to be a huge factor for some people who are a little bit procrastinators, might get a couple of assignments in late. But I think it's definitely a difficult time, I'm sure. But I think they give them a little bit forewarning ahead of time because they don't want to affect the pay of these the play of these guys.
Yeah, with Illinois, the matchup coming up this week, they did move to a 28-13 overall record after losing one game, but winning back-to-back matchups against Evansville, so that'll go a long way. Only 2 losses inside the Valley, so definitely dominating inside the Missouri Valley Conference. For sure. They're still at first place at the top of the conference, and then, Illinois, they've seen them already before this year, and they're just, going to right the wrongs of everything that happened this past time, and now they're going to keep on improving, and they're going to keep on killing it.
Exactly. It's exciting. It's going to be a show for sure.
Absolutely, Joe. Man, let's talk about now. We're going to focus on some Indiana State softball, as they also had a pretty successful weekend. They went 2-1 in their matchup. A little bit of, Indiana State love going there for baseball and softball, going 2-for-1. We'd like to see them go 3-0, but hey, we take it. We'll take what we can get. Friday's matchup, they really started out strong as they got their first, couple of runs in that one when they took on, I believe it was Missouri State. Yes, it was Missouri State. And Friday's matchup, they came out, dominant as ever, got a few couple of runs in the first 2 innings. But they did drop one on Saturday in a close one, which that's a good thing. Even though if you lose, you still want to make it very competitive. And it was 8-7. But then they came out, won in a very close one again. with the final score being 6-5. So, very close calls there all over the weekend. They actually do improve. I mean, I feel like we've always had this conversation every Monday when we're talking about the softball team where they're always like stuck at either below or at 500, but now they're above 500.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
24.
we up right now.
That's what I'm saying, man.
That's something. And, I mean, these are close games too. So, like, they really coming through in a lot of these key moments in these later innings, which is just huge for this team, especially since they only have 3 more games and 1 more series for the rest of the regular season and going into playoffs and tournament time. So, I mean, I think these are huge. And a lot of them against, like, conference opponents, mainly Missouri State, and won 1 game against Murray State and everything. But still, I think what they've been doing is just huge, especially when it's really timely. It's really timely. A lot of these timely hits, a lot of these timely pitches, just being able just to play good softball and everything. I think this is huge for them momentum-wise going into the Valparaiso series.
Yeah, Valparaiso, that should be a really interesting, matchup that they're going to be coming up against. I mean, when you look at it, that's actually their last regular season weekend series before they start their Missouri Valley Conference tournament. And I feel like Indiana State baseball and softball didn't even start that long ago.
It's crazy.
I mean, just like, I think time is just made up. I just feel like everything's just going by so fast.
I don't get it. You know what I mean?
I don't either, man.
You know what I mean? I just be living life and everything, and then just be like, here we are, I guess.
Yeah, Joe. It's very interesting. And, with softball, they've had, their ups and downs. We've mentioned it already. But now they're 5th in the conference, which will increase their standing and who they're going to be taking on in the first round.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and just lie to you guys. I feel like Indiana State softball, although they don't have as good of a chance as the men's baseball team, softball, they can still, really battle it. And they've proved it all season long with tough competition all week.
So let me ask you a question. Where are we ranked right now in the Missouri Valley Conference for softball? Do you know?
We are now 5th right now.
We're 5th out of how many teams?
I believe there's about 12.
12.
I can do the math real quick and do my statistics.
Yeah, just click, clack, clack. But yeah, I feel you. It's just like I do think that even though we had, regular season wise worst team last year for softball than it is this year, even in that we won the series against Valparaiso 2-1. So, I mean, like, I do think we definitely have a chance now, especially since we're hitting a little bit of momentum, and which is something that this whole team has lacked for the majority of this season, just ups and downs. But now we're just, getting some hits, getting some timely, pitches and everything. And I think everything is just lining up for us to have that momentum going forward. Right. And a couple of heroes as well up and down this roster. So I think that's huge.
And yes, we are 5th here in the conference with a 14-10 overall record, 26-24 overall. 14-10 inside the conference, I should say. But,
Swag.
Valparaiso, who we're about to match up with, they've currently on a 7-game losing streak. They're not having a good season. I mean, they're 4-20 in the conference, 8 wins to 37 losses overall. And there's a lot of games in baseball and softball. Sometimes it can be doubleheaders, and, most of the time it's back-to-back-to-back weekend series, so they don't have free weekends at all during the time. Yeah. But you and I, they're sitting pretty nice up there at first with a 34-11 record, only taking 1 loss in the conference, 23-1. Missouri State, they're a pretty good team at 29-18. Then you have Illinois State, Murray State, and then finally the Sycamores for softball. So. Right. But from what I've seen already, I feel like they can compete with the best of them. I mean, they've hung in there, whether it be low scoring, high scoring. They always have something up their sleeve.
Yeah, they're definitely a team that I don't think if you were at the top or even at the bottom, they want to face necessarily.
No.
So I think that
they're a scary team.
Yeah,
they're streaky.
We have some girls on this team that are going to be able to, really scare some people here. Isabella Henning, who just all on top of all like the hitting numbers for this team.
Dominant.
Anna Torek, and there's just so many. Olivia Payton, I believe. There's so many guys and girls who are just up and down this roster who can really make plays, and especially timely ones. And I think that's huge for Indiana State. Really, it's just about putting together a good, hitting and pitching performance and, getting to those bases. But I feel like with this team, I think they can pretty much go against anybody in the Missouri Valley Conference and really get a chance, or at least give up a really, really good fight at the very, very least. for a lot of these teams. Definitely not somebody you want to face.
No. And I think if they can just continue, and if you're looking at a team that's lost 7 in a row, you don't want to overcompensate on something like this. You want to go in there, have a killer mentality, win those games. That'll push you to a 4-game win streak, and then, hey, playoff time, conference time, that should help in the long run. And I think they could. It's not looking like they're not. I don't think they can get anywhere in the top 4, but it looks like they could be. They're going to pretty much stay at 5 when you look at it. It's only based on conference rankings. So with 14 wins, Southern Illinois has 13 wins. So if you lose more than probably 2 games this weekend, you'll probably slide to the 6th spot. And then Murray State, Illinois State at 16 wins. So if they take out 3 and then maybe Illinois State and Murray State lose all 3 of their weekend series, then you do have the chance to get up there, but it's not looking most likely. So you're pretty much secured yourself 5th, maybe 4th.
Yeah.
But mostly you want to look at the team that you're going to be facing, and that'll probably be Belmont, who's 9-14. You could maybe throw in Drake, who has 9 wins, and then Evansville, 8 wins. I mean, so on and so on. So, I mean, the worst case scenario, you're going to be stuck here at 5, and you're going to be playing a Belmont team if the season were to end today. But, just so close to the end of the year, numbers matter a lot.
That's what's funny about this team. It's just like we always just, we win a lot of, I would say the majority of the matchup that we're supposed to win, conference wise, we won against, I think we swept the Drake, we went 2-1 against a Belmont. Like, we win against like some of the teams that we're supposed to be, which is good, but we're just struggling with some people who are, at or above our level. But now we get in the stride or whatever. And so I think this is going to be huge, going forward when it comes to those first round matchups.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. And the 2023 regular season will come to a conclusion for the Indiana State softball team this weekend when they take on Valparaiso. That will begin May 5th at 4 p.m. And then, of course, the 6th and the 7th. And, man, there's just a lot to be, talked about. And just a lot to look forward to for everything going on.
Word.
So before we take our quick break, I just want to say a quick shout-out. If you want to add any input on this, you can. Indiana State Track and Field, 13 first-place finishes in an impressive outing by the school here. They were here over the weekend at the Sycamore Open, and that actually ended their regular season for 2022-2023 for at-home competition-wise. But now they're going over to Bloomington, Indiana this Friday when they will be taking part in the Billy Hayes Invitational. So it seems like no matter what the competition, I mean, we can go to Alabama, we can go, a state over, and now here in Terre Haute, there's always seems to be at least a minimum or a maximum of very high numbers of, first place finishes for the Sycamores, and especially top 3. There's just so much talent on this track and field team, and it just goes overlooked a lot.
Yeah, and that's the big thing when it comes to this track and field team, because we just been dominant pretty much the entire year. And the one part that we've been just like not really lacking, but there's been a group away from, a lot of the success when it comes to, these events. And it's really been that throwing, squad and stuff. It feels like we have a lot of these runners, but the thrower squad, they're there. Don't get me wrong. They get a lot of really nice place finishes, but we haven't been, a whole lot of event winners like we saw in this just past invitational. So I think that's huge. I mean, javelin, we won, shot put, hammer throw,
long jump. I've seen a lot.
Exactly.
There's just
pole
so
vault. There's definitely been a lot of, the extra events for these invitationals that have just been shining, which is great news going into, what did you say, Ball State?
It'll be Bloomington.
So that's great news for them. It's going to be huge. If they can get that throwing squad to continue and, do half of what we saw in the last invitational, it's going to be great.
Absolutely, Joe. Hey, we're going to take a quick 1-minute break here on Sports Extra, and when we come back, it'll be the last segment for a while, and we're going to be talking about the Indianapolis Colts and their insane draft. I think they were at least top 10, maybe even top 5. One of the most successful teams in their draft class in 2023. A lot of good names, a lot of under-the-radar players, but then there's absolutely one that sticks out amongst the rest, and then we're going to have to say bye-bye to our man Joseph the Lawnmower, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And we will be right back here on Sports Extra in 1 minute.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate.
I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back for the last time for the 2022-2023 school year, the best sports talk show, not only on the campus of Indiana State, not only in the Wabash Valley, not only in the state of Indiana, but in the galaxy.
Yep.
I'm Coby Clark. Over there, Joseph the Lawn Moore. Joe, let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts before we get, all sad, crying, and sentimental and all that good stuff. The Indianapolis Colts, we have been talking about it since the season ended for them back in January or December. I can't even remember. It's been a long couple of months.
It's been a minute.
The 4th overall pick, everyone knew the Colts had this, but there were numerous rumors. Were they going to trade up? Is this player going to drop? Are they going to trade back and get more bang for their buck? But the Colts stuck it out at 4. They saw C.J. Stroud go off the board at 2. Bryce Young went off the board at 1. And then a crazy trade with Will Anderson to the Texans, where I'm just like, at first I was confused because I was in the car. I wasn't watching the draft.
Yeah, I was like, why did they got the third?
Who did they trade? Yeah. Like, did they just trade C.J. Stroud to the Cardinals at first?
That would be crazy.
I was like, where did Will Anderson go? And seeing it honestly makes a lot of sense because if you take a quarterback and you're the Texans, then a lot of players are going to be like, oh, well, our teams and organization are going to be like, oh, well, we're not going to trade for the 3 pick now. So the Texans honestly got a lot of good compensation. I just hope that they made a smart move. The Cardinals definitely did. I think they got maybe you could have used him. Maybe I think Will Anderson would have been a good pick. Jalen Carter would have been up there.
Yeah.
But they got a lot of draft picks coming in the near future for them, and especially next year. I think they have 2 first, like almost 2 or 3 seconds, a lot of third round picks as well. So
for sure.
But nevertheless, the Indianapolis Colts, they selected the Florida standout quarterback Anthony Richardson, man, and that was the one name that I really wanted to see. I thought it was going to be C.J. Stroud. But now, when we get closer and closer to draft time, I was really feeling Richardson, and a lot of Colts fans that I have contacts with, and the media here in Indianapolis were feeling the same way. And they got their guy, and they can't be more pleased than the fact that they got him.
As they should. Just a quick comment. It is gonna be scary. I don't know about scary. I shouldn't say scary because I feel like that gets mocked a lot. But it's going to be a very, very bright future for the AFC South.
Oh, man.
And because, C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, now Anthony Richardson,
whoever. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, but it could be.
I don't know what's going on over there. But
they're doing some weird stuff in Tennessee.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. But I guess Will Levis did go technically to.
Hey, I called that
to Tennessee. Hey, you did.
I said he would go 11th overall, but no one expected him to drop to day 2 like his
day 2. No, that was crazy.
So,
but yeah, it was insane. But yeah, I do think this was a fantastic pick. I love the attitude that I think Anthony Richards can bring to this, Colts team, which I feel has lacked leadership. That's one of the things, especially on the offensive side of the ball specifically. And that's one of the things that we haven't really mentioned all that much, because when it comes to this cycle of rent a quarterbacks that the Colts have been doing for
over
X number of years,
the pain is over.
Exactly. It's hard to bring, that type of leadership from administration to administration basically. And so when you have I would say the exception of Phillip Rivers, because he does have like a Hall of Fame type of background going into the Colts, arguably. So but still, I do think when you have that young attitude, and it's going to be fun in that quarterback room, because Gardner Minshew and then Anthony, they're going to have some. I just feel like it's going to be funny. I feel like that
should be a good room.
Exactly, that should be a very, very healthy, very, very good room. So I mean, I think this is going to be the right move. I don't think Anthony is ready right now. I do think that give him a season.
To sit behind Minshew?
Really, yes. I wholeheartedly believe. I think that unless like training camp goes swimmingly, like he made some strides, which could be the case, where his accuracy is up there and stuff. I do think that he's just one of those like, I don't know, just really, really high potential guys that is a little bit raw, but there is work ethic there. There's personality there. There's a lot there that just kind of gives all the indications that he's willing to put in the work to be a better quarterback.
True.
So yeah, I think this is just going to be huge, just for the NFL in general. Just having all these, really athletic, really, talented QBs, at their positions and to getting into the league, especially after last year where it was just very dry, in terms of QBs and draft in general. But yeah, it was amazing. I'm glad that we made the picks that we did, especially going into the second round. I like the pickup. We really needed somebody at cornerback, and I think they picked right.
Now, here's the thing, Joe. I love, honestly, personally, I can see Gardner Minshew starting, and he probably deserves it after what he's had to go through with Jacksonville and then, being on a good bench in Philadelphia behind the MVP, well, with Jalen Hurts. So, and here now, it kind of makes sense for him to, at least get a few games in.
Oh, yeah.
But he's never going to be that traditional starting quarterback.
He's not.
He's not going to. It's just not going to happen. I mean, he was a very late round pick when he first got selected. And he would have never played unless it was for Nick Foles' injury in first game of, I believe, the 2018 season.
That's true.
So,
I think, he's definitely a guy that definitely has talent, but it's he's definitely not the one guy. You know what I mean?
Not.
He's just not.
He's
that
a
guy.
great vocal voice and leader in the locker room.
I was just about to say he's a guy that you definitely want to have on your bench. Definitely want to have in your locker room. That's going to spend a lot of wisdom, a lot of like good energy. It's just going to be just great for the overall locker room, and then the mood and attitude of the team, which depending on who you are, can make astounding impacts on the actual field.
Agreed.
But
Richardson could learn a lot from him.
Exactly.
Even though he's also pretty young, but he's been in the league for a while. He knows the game. He knows exactly what this league is made of.
He's seen a bunch of different, not a bunch, but like, a decent amount of different franchises. He's been, from all the way from Jacksonville to, Philadelphia and everything. And I think that like, kind of just duality of like kind of how things are ran and stuff, just because, Jacksonville's not just, really well ran franchise.
They're better now.
Oh, they're better now, but, I'll never forgive them for Urban Meyer. That was insane.
That was awful.
But still,
I think they forgot about it.
Exactly. I think they should. They should do like the Men in Black, like little, a whole flash
Urban
thing.
Meyer. Whoa.
Never heard
of that name.
But I think those are good pickups. I think Gardner Minshew can teach Anthony a whole lot, and I think going forward, I think that's just going to be who he is as he develops as a leader on and off the field. I think it's a really good pick. I really like the pick. You know
great.
what I mean? The more I think I've done into it, I'm just like, the Colts knew what they were doing.
But are you at least a little skeptical and scared of the fact that I feel like when we go back to Anthony Richardson's name being brought up back in like February for this pick for the Colts, we're like, oh, well, we don't want to get overhyped like how the Jets did with Zach Wilson in that combine.
Yeah.
I don't want people to be like, oh, well, I knew it from the beginning, and now I feel like we're buying in. Because I was one of those. I was like, well, maybe I don't want to buy into him. It's kind of the same thing. But now I kind of get closer to it. Now I'm realizing, is it a good decision? I agree. Here we are. I'm rocking with him.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I feel you. I definitely feel you. Again, I've always been that guy who's, takes more kind of stuff between the lines than, off the field, like, results and stuff. But it would be, false to say that he didn't take advantage of the combine and, just had a really good combine,
That's
had
true.
really good showings.
That's what the combine's made for.
Exactly. That's what it's made for sure. And so, like, I mean, it would be a lie to say that a lot of those kind of external factors off the field did work in his favor a whole lot. But, I mean, that's what they're there for. They're trying to, of course, there's so many factors that go into, like, winning football and when, who's going to make that catch, when he's going to make the catch, where he's going to make that catch. There's just so many factors that go into it. So, again, I don't think that it was, it's negative to, like, put that against him. However, it's like what he put on the field was pretty good. Like, if we're going to be honest, it was pretty good. Of course, there's things there that, are cause for concerns. Like, maybe you should have made this pass. There were, concerning, decisions here, or there. But still, like, the overall body of work isn't, like, bad enough. It wasn't like Will Levis, where I'm just like, Will Levis is just big. He's tall.
That's all it is.
And he has a really good arm. You know what I mean? And I'm sure
he drinks coffee with mayonnaise, Joe. And
you lying.
I'm not. You haven't seen the videos?
Okay.
He eats bananas with the peel on. I'm not kidding.
Okay.
I just blow your mind.
I have this thing about like weird food combinations, and like a lot of my friends just try to like pick on me about it by like eating weird food combinations in front of me. What do you gain from mayonnaise?
I think we need to ask him.
And coffee.
Look
You know
it
what
up.
I mean?
Everyone listening.
And then
Google
the
it.
peel,
Will Levis mayonnaise coffee.
Like I've had, I've eaten, I've eaten, a couple different fruits in my life, and the peel is not that. It is not something that I want to
peel?
eat it. Like,
where are we going from this?
Is there a nutritional value to it or something? I don't know, but that.
I'm
glad
so happy.
I was glad
he's in Tennessee.
I'm glad he is. Now I am. But it's crazy. But I'm glad. The Colts had a really good draft. I think that Anthony is going to be a huge factor going for us in the future.
I agree, man.
Make the right pick. We just need to focus on development and then just try to compete to a marginal level at the very least. And I don't know what the season for the Colts is going to look like.
I don't either.
I have no idea. Anthony might be just a god, from the first season. He might just, be a guy who needs, a little bit of time to develop and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No one knows. And I think that's a good thing.
And it's fun, though. But that's fun. That's what sports is.
Colts needed this bad.
Facts.
They really did.
Facts.
With whatever, they had some success with Rivers, and then the whole debacle with Carson Wentz in that last game of the season, and then, they've progressively gotten worse. And I think they can honestly thank Matt Ryan for being here.
Yeah. For sure.
I don't know what else to say about it, but it's pretty gross.
It's something.
And then you go to the second round where, they lost Stephon Gilmore. They traded him to the Colts. And, the Colts really haven't had that kind of guy in the defensive back, that number one corner. And they took Julius Brents out of Kansas State. I mean, Brents, he has that top 30 cornerback national rank assignment with him. He was first team all-conference pick 3 times, actually. And when you go into the season, you kind of need someone like that. And I feel like Brents brings a lot to the table for a defense that was very injured.
Yeah,
very injured.
For sure. And with, I believe Kenny Moore and Isaiah Rodgers, that's his name, they're both on the last year of their contracts, I believe. So, I think this was really a good business pick for sure. And, you have to, kind of go into the factor that he's a Indianapolis local. He went to Warren, which is obviously, a bunch of good talent just comes out of Warren, period. Mm-hmm. And so I think this was a really, really good pick. And I think that, him being a hometown kid is going to be, working his favor and having, a couple. I really, really wish they made this pick with Stephon Gilmore on the roster, because imagine the amount of knowledge that Stephon
would have been nice.
That would have been huge. Kenny Moore has been through it as well. So, he can spit some knowledge as well, but I would definitely prefer to have Stephon Gilmore in that role. But still, I do think that he's going to have a lot of talent, really, really athletic, really good decision maker on the field as well. He's had a couple of big picks in the season and stuff. I watched maybe 2 Kansas State games, and each game that I've seen his name's been called at least once.
That's why he was an early pick on day 2.
Exactly. So I think this is huge. This is huge for him.
And then a wide receiver to help out Michael Pittman. Maybe have that wide receiver. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to be like a top 5 duo, top 10 duo in the league, but Josh Downs out of North Carolina, I mean, there's something special there, and he brings a lot of speed and, his intangibles to the game. There's so many things that can go well for Indianapolis, and when you draft a young quarterback, I think it's only right that you go get him a weapon in that same draft or the next year draft. So I feel like Josh Downs, under the radar kind of pick, very late. He wasn't talked highly like, Jackson Smith, for example, or Jalen Hyatt, for example, but Zay Flowers. But, I mean, this pick right here could definitely go to work wonders, and it could prove to be the scouting department could even be a better and smarter idea.
I mean, that's the hope. You never really know with some of these, especially after third round. I would say, the 4th and 5th, it actually has some gems. But, third round is kind of questionable, but I think what is more questionable is our depth at the wide receiver position for the Colts. Michael Pittman did have kind of a breakout season last year, but still we don't have a whole lot of guys to really
it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have a whole lot of guys.
He's still not like that wide receiver 1
exactly
that you want yet.
He will be a really, really good 2, a B+2, but I don't.
He's like a C- wide receiver 1.
Yeah, like C, maybe C plus in some moments. Had a couple of B performances on a couple of projects.
And
but
that's a lot to be said with the quarterback play they had last year.
Exactly. So, like, it's tough. But you definitely want to get weapons, especially at the wide receiver position for the Colts. I feel like we haven't had like a top whatever wide receiver in a long time.
It's been a very long time.
Yes. So
T.Y. Hilton was
exactly that was what
top 10 maybe.
He was nice. But it's, T.Y. Hilton wasn't like. He was on the team scouting report, obviously, but it wasn't just like, oh no, they got T.Y. Hilton. Oh, you know what I mean? They weren't like, shaking in their boots. But I really want like a really, really nice wide receiver talent at the, for in the blue and white. That would be so nice. That would be so
It'd be
nice.
cool.
We haven't had that in so long. So,
and
cool.
Another guy that I think that you should really go after when you draft a young quarterback, get him some help. Protect that young quarterback. They went out in the 4th round and got an offensive tackle early on day 3 in the name of Blake Freeland from BYU. He's a pretty big man and someone that has like a lot. He came in very early in the 2019 season for BYU, started the last couple of games, and it felt like he never left. So, I mean, under the radar pick that he wasn't talked highly about by other offensive tackles in the league. By the way, while we're talking about that subject, shout out DeJuan Jones, Ben Davis, legend.
Oh, yeah.
Being selected by the Cleveland Browns. We see you.
I remember playing against him on like 2 plays. And like I think it was my sophomore year. We were getting blown out. And so like they put me against him. It's a big man. It's big. I definitely was on my butt. I'm not gonna lie. I was definitely on my butt. Like the 2 plays I was in, matched up against them.
It's okay, Joe.
It was tough, but I can say that I played against them. So like
Hey, you played against an NFL player.
There, that's me right there.
That's you right there. Yeah,
I made him shake. I made him sweat a little bit.
Oh yeah, I bet. No, but overall, for me personally, I mean, just to go down. I unfortunately do not know how to pronounce this man's name, but his last name is Adabor, from a defensive tackle from Northwestern. Darius Rush, another DB from South Carolina. Daniel Scott from California. Will Mallory, tight end out of Miami. Evan Hall, running back. I mean, it could be interesting from Northwestern. Titus Leo, an edge rusher from Wagner. Jalen Jones, a DB. So they took 3 DBs in this draft from Texas A&M, and then to round out another offensive tackle in the name of Jake Witt from the Northern Michigan University.
Yeah, I think I love how they went after defensive talent.
It's pretty nice.
I love that so much. I think that was the direction they should have gone. And it's the direction that they went. I mean, obviously we have a pretty solid defense, but there was moments in last season where it kind of saw that like once Darius Leonard is, out, you have to just kind of look for heroes sometimes. Yeah. And like, a couple of times a hero showed up. Stephon Gilmore had, 2 or 3 games where it was just like, okay, we kind of bailed us out there, at least give him a chance at winning or winning the game. But, it just kind of felt like we just lacked punch when it came to the defensive side of the ball, which is something that, we kind of had, when Darius Leonard was completely healthy. So who knows?
Overall, I'm going to give this grade of the draft class for the Indianapolis Colts. I would say, depending on, everyone knows the name Anthony Richardson, but depending on really how well those other 3 guys I just mentioned work out for them, Brents, Downs, and Freeland. I mean, they're all, kind of players that will see time, but not a lot of time. Right now, I will give them a solid B. And I think that's a very fair for the Colts.
I'm like teetering on an A- B+.
I get that.
I'm gonna say A- for Anthony Richards' little brother.
Yeah, shout out that 13-year-old.
Why is he 13-year-old with a neck tattoo?
He sounds 30. I love it though. I'm here for it. And apparently his family, I've heard, is moving to Indy with Richardson.
Here we go.
So he might be high school football, middle school football here in Indianapolis one day. He's not going there. Why would you?
Why not, man?
I'm sorry, man. But no, great
NC
draft.
sucks.
I wish the Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richards so much success. If you had asked me, I think he's in the best situation. I think Bryce Young in Carolina, although he's going to start day 1, he has a few weapons there. Frank Reich's a very knowledgeable guy, but man, I don't know.
Does he have weapons? Who's the weapon on their team?
Well, they have Adam Thielen and DJ Chark. I mean, there's options.
I'm not scared of. I ain't scared of them guys, frankly.
And then CJ Stroud in Houston. I couldn't tell you who their wide receiver. I think it's Robert Woods.
Who is their wide receiver?
Someone get some help. D'Amico Ryans, get a better wide receiver for him. Jeez.
Yeah. Hopefully somebody sends out.
And Will Levis, we're not going to see him play at all this season. Maybe. I mean, I don't know what they're doing with Malik Willis.
Exactly.
Tannehill's on the way out. This is his last season as a starter.
I don't know why
full-time.
they just don't. I don't like the Titans because
No one does. They're just so weird.
They be like good just because Derrick Henry, and it's just like
get him out of there.
Defense is okay, and then he just somehow they win the games. They make me so mad because they're so confusing.
Interesting. Well, Joe, I think it's come to that final time of the episode. We're going to be looking back on a lot of good moments from you and me on this show, but most importantly, you and everything that you've contributed. We've already talked a little bit about how you and everything went on during the senior send-off, plus Joe Moore. But before we get any thoughts and anything, I have this video package to be played real quick for you.
There's no way.
It's 4.5. It's not a video package. It's a voice package.
Okay.
It's 4.5 minutes. It's specifically the senior send-offs.
Yeah.
Plus another voice that you'll know. So I'm in here, everyone here. So I'm going to let the viewers either in the car or at home listen, and I'm going to get your initial reactions after you listen to it, and just know that you were deserving and worth this. Absolutely. So let's just roll it real quick.
Thank you, Zach, for that lovely rendition of One Beer by MF Doom.
Welcome.
Thanks, man. But Joe, man, I'm gonna miss you so much. You know, I won't have anyone to, pick their brain about music, or you pick my brain about music. You know, I'm missing a real one, another indie native. And gosh darn, you're so smart. Like, it hurts my brain how smart you are. I feel smarter just being around you sometimes, just because I feel like you exuberate the energy into me. But, short of that, I know you're going to do great things, and I'm really excited to see what those things are. You're an awesome dude, and I'm going to miss you bunches, and, never hesitate to text me about anything Griselda does, because tell Virgil, write brick on my brick, boom, 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 ayo. No, but I'm going to miss you, buddy. And wish you the best.
Hey, what's up, Joe? It's Tanner. I just wanted to thank you for everything that you've done for the station and making my week last week by telling me my single favorite Joe quote of all time. You, Tanner. I'm going to miss the word of the day and how much you challenged me with intellectual conversation. You've made my brain hurt. And for one last time, for old time's sake. Remy boy!
Hey, Joe. What's up with me? Zach G. Just want to say thank you for everything you've done. You've been a great asset to the station, a great friend to everybody here. You're always super fun to talk to. We all love you, right? Also, I just wanted to say this. I killed my throat doing the singing for One Beer by MF Doom. So if you don't give out a bars when you hear that, then I'm going just to be really sad and I'll cry, but that's okay. Anyway, Joe, just want to say, hope you have a good life with your crazy, super smart degree that I wouldn't be able to do. So, yeah, have a good life, man. Love you.
My main man, my dog, Joseph the Lawnmower. I could go on and on about what we're going to be talking about, but, man, you are definitely an inspiration to me, seeing on how respectful you are, how hardworking you are. Just every day is a new journey when I get to talk to you, and there will never be a better moment right here, right now, at least, that I got to share with you than anyone else down in St. Louis with the Sycamores basketball team. We had such good chemistry and connection. We had such a good time being able to go off the air and talk about our podcast, and did so many great things this past year, man. You have been a joy to work with this past year and a half. It's been a joy getting to even know you. You make me want to work harder. You make me want to prepare even better for what's going to come in my life. But just everything that you've been working hard. I've seen those scientific equations on the chalkboard at the old building. I've seen you work your butt off, man. And it's just going to all pay off for you. I just know it. And hey, remember this one always. You'll be one of the best sports talk show hosts that I've ever got to work with and one of the best color commentators I've ever had the pleasure to call any game with as well. Good luck to everything, man. You keep on killing it. And one last thing, go Paces.
What's going on, Joe? It's your boy Christian Hill, man. I just wanted to tell you congratulations again on getting that opportunity to work at IU. Man, WZS, I know they all gonna miss you, bro. Just an amazing, amazing individual. Your talent, the way you care about people, just everything you bring to WZS. You know what I'm saying? You are definitely one of those people that was influential to the future of the radio station, making sure it was successful, making sure it was going to stay for a long time, bro. You know what I'm saying? I had the amazing opportunity to work with you, also to mentor you in certain, facets and everything like that when you came into the station, man. And you've always been great, always been respectful, incredible on air and off air. Just creating that environment of care, creating an environment of professionalism, and really having a great merge of the two. I mean, it's honestly amazing, bro. And you know what I'm saying? Honestly, I'm going to have to concede it, bro. I'm going to have to concede it. Tyrese Halliburton, he got a better career than LaMelo Ball, man. I have to concede it. But congratulations again. I'm super proud of you, bro. And I look forward to seeing what you do in the future.
Joe Moore, how are you feeling now in that moment? Some great singing by Zach, some very influential words of expression by him, Gavin, Tanner, myself, and then I was very surprised that I actually reached out to our former news and sports director, Christian Hill, to do this special thing for you.
Man,
you're worth it.
First of all, bars.
Absolutely.
And just to the whole thing, bars. I have to give it one time for the one time. Secondly, I would like to say that I definitely hit a huge bang in the studio.
Oh, yeah.
After C Hill conceded, like I've been saying.
It's about time you realize.
Again.
I was a little iffy as well.
Exactly. They call me crazy. But still, it's just been huge. Again, like you said in the beginning, I really can't. I'm not good at taking just compliments just straight up, like bold-faced, without just showing my love to everybody at the station.
Right.
Each one of you, from, Gavin to even Tanner, Zach G, Christian, and all the guys who just made that clip for me and everything. And then all the people that I met here, I mean, it's been huge. It's definitely been huge. And everybody here has just been so influential on my life and how I look out at things. And it's just been such a beautiful experience. If you are listening right now and you're an Indiana State student, about to be an Indiana State student, I encourage you to, come here to the station and everything. You looking for family, literally everybody is welcome. Even a nerd like me, who's out here doing equations and doing organic chemistry on some chalkboards and whiteboards, man. Like they've, received me with so much love and attention and care that, I don't know where I would be without it. So I just appreciate everybody here. I'm glad I got the MF Doom, fixed for today. Beautiful voice. I didn't know Zach had it like that. I'm not going to lie.
Me neither. Shout out. I love it.
And yeah, that Tanner quote was definitely a real quote. I'm not going to add context.
Don't repeat it.
I'm not going to repeat it. I might as well. I'm out of here. But anyway, it's just like I'm just going to not going to add context to that. But yeah, it's just definitely huge. And of course, Christian and everything. He was super impressed. I was really impressible at that time, and I think under his guidance, he, everybody who knows Christian, he had that type of maturity. Just like the way that he carried himself was just really, really huge for me and everything. It made me kind of grow up in a lot of sense. And, like he said, he kind of mentored me a little bit. And I would say not even a little bit, a lot of it. Because just, how he carried himself and everything, how, being, really, really good in school, being a part of so many things, and then just taking me under his wing when it comes to, how everything worked at the station. It's just been huge, and how I, kind of proceeded from that. So, again, I just want to last shout out to everybody. Everybody here has just been receiving me with so much love. I couldn't have made a better choice when it comes to colleges.
Facts.
And, whatever, your destiny is, wherever your vision is, just make sure that you pursue it with all your heart. And I think that is just going to be really huge for you. Remember that people is, what's going to move mountains for you. You know what I mean? Don't neglect the people around you, the people that love and care for you, because, they're not always going to be around. So just make sure that, you're always there for the people that you love, and, they'll all be there for you, move in the world with love and kindness, and then just continue to be the best version of yourself every single day. And yeah, Joe out. Go Paces.
That's crazy, Joe. I just want to say one more last time, man. I mean, you and I, St. Louis. That was a great time.
Fantastic. All time. Top 2, and it ain't 2.
That's true.
Like, my goodness.
We are second. Unfortunately, we weren't first place. Second place sports talk show in the state of Indiana that has your name on it and my name on it. Could not have done it without you. Wouldn't want to have done it with anybody else. You are my brother, and I wish you the best on everything going on after this.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All love back to you, man.
Appreciate you, brother. For the final time, sadly, it'll be until next year where I will be returning. I'm taking Joe's spot, actually. So
he took my number. He's kicking me out, y'all. I'm trying to tell you.
I'm going to try and do me. I wish there were more people like Joe in this world, but, everyone's, unique in their own different way, and that's what makes everyone feel so special. All the haters are going to hate. They can say what they say, but let's just be great.
Thanks. Bar.
That's a bar right there, baby.
Come on now.
For the final time, Joe, do you have any more last words before we get on out of here?
Go Pacers.
I'm going to cry.
And
go Pacers.
WZIS.
Go WZIS for life. For Joseph the Lawnmower, I've been the Coby Clark. Until next time, everyone, this has been Sports Extra.
Peace.
Peace out.